Mike and Tom are registered with Stewart Partners Global Advisory LLC.
Common Sense Finance with Mike Wiginton and Tom Farrell of HL Wiginton Capital Management, an independent investment and financial planning firm in downtown Jasper. Mike is a chartered financial analyst charter holder, and Tom is a certified financial planner professional. They are here to discuss and give their thoughts on current financial and economic matters. Now, with Common Sense Finance, here are Mike and Tom.
Welcome back to another edition of Common Sense Finance. I'm Tom Farrell. This is Mike Wiginton. And, you know, Mike, we were talking about this the other day about how much capital or money does it take to generate $1 of income these days. More specifically, focusing on retirees and how they're going to provide for themselves in retirement. And the phrase, you know, squeezing blood out of a turnip comes to mind when we're talking about that.
Yeah, and I would add a couple of things. Number one, there are a ton of people that are not retirees, that are working, that for whatever reason say the stock market's not for me,
right,
but they're very much interested in generating a return. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is the way it used to be thought about, and let's everybody just be normal people for a second if you can. If you had $1 million, you're on top of the world. Once you had $1 million in the bank, you were set. Okay, so a few years ago, when we would talk to folks that really lined up as bond investors, mm-hmm, you know, we would talk about generating $50,000 to $60,000 out of a somewhat balanced portfolio, mostly bonds, but maybe some equities too. Right. Okay. That, hey, I think you can reasonably generate, you know, $50,000 a year, mm-hmm, out of a $1 million portfolio, and income, okay, whether that's dividends, interest, right, okay. Then it seems like yesterday, but in all reality, maybe it was a year and a half, 18 months, or 2 years ago, we were talking about $40,000.
Right.
Okay, and folks would say, "That, are you kidding me?"
And that's without touching the original investment or the principal.
Without touching the principal, because people are very sensitive about that. Which is a behavioral bias, by the way, we talked about before. Mm-hmm. People are very sensitive about that. That's the way they think. That's fine. You have to deal with that. Okay, so the way this podcast generated is we were reading. Okay, and we'll put this up on the screen for you. We'll document this so you can look it up for yourself. An article where they've done the study on a 50-50 balanced portfolio. That 50-50 means 50% equities, 50% bonds. What could you generate? The number's $12,000.
$1.2%.
$12,000 a year. Okay.
That's looking forward. Their capital market assumptions looking forward. That's what they're saying. You could.
Well,
current.
No, actually, that's current.
Okay.
Based on today's 50-50 portfolio. Okay. And so, you know, just recently, you and I walked through a scenario with a client with $3 million, with all of it going into a series of certificates of deposits, FDIC insured certificates of deposit, on $3 million, ranging between 3 months and including some at the 5-year number, and we could hardly generate $15,000 a year on right, $3 million.
Right.
Okay? What are you going to do about that, dear investor? And their response to that is, what are you going to do about it, right, Tom?
Yeah.
All right? That's the way I like to put it. What are you going to do about it, Tom? And it's one of those situations I explained to my boys. It's about pick your poison. Which version of negative or bad do you want, in my opinion? Okay? And again, these are people that are still working years. They're not retirees. They just want something more conservative than the stock market.
Right.
But they'd like a return. And the answer is, man, where do you go and get that? And that's a big question for all of us today, whether it's folks on our end of the world or whether it's the final owner of the
There
principal.
is no magic bullet for that either. There's not some magic investment vehicle or product that you can go and, oh yeah, we can do that. And you're going to have to make some kind of concession somewhere.
I mentioned to a guy, I said, I think you should consider building or buying duplexes, rental property. He said, I don't want the headache of that. I've done that before. Yeah. Again, pick your poison.
Right.
Okay, so and I like real estate. Real estate's not what we're in business about, but it is an investment that we know about and we talk to clients about on a regular basis. Again, I'm a fan of it. It's been both my best and my worst investment personally, but there's no easy answers. And as we said on multiple times before, you're forced into a corner. You better be checking those corners out.
That's it for us today.
Till next time.
Yep.